Over the past 6 to 7 months, I've tried all types of glass pads, and today I kind of want to collect all of my opinions of all of those pads, put them in a list so that you have my opinions on all of these pads. Remember, these are glass pads. Not only are glass pads more subjective than cloth pads, but also are availability and shipping prices crucial for a purchase decision for many of you. The difference in overall speed is also most often not nearly as drastic as the ones of different cloth pad categories, so keep in mind that comparing glass pads to each other isn't the same thing as comparing cloth pads. Also, do take my surface and speed input as an opinion and not as a bold subjective fact. And most of these pads were indeed sent out to me, but that will not affect my opinion whatsoever. Also, I'm not glass pilled and have mainly tested all of these for the community and not out of my own pure interest. And that is also why this video has been delayed so many times. So first of all, we're talking about the SkyPAD 3.0. With this XL size, it comes in at 500 by 400 millimeters. It is around 3.7 millimeters thick, and it is in no way annoying for me personally. It also comes with these decently rounded edges, but they're definitely not the most rounded in this roundup. And on the back side, it has these 4 furniture corner feet. It is not coated, and there has been tons of limited editions which have all sold out, of course. In terms of glass pads, this one is still pretty fast. Now, it's definitely more controlled than my personal copy of the SP004, the new SkyPAD 4.0. And the main drawback with the 3.0 is that I personally can't use it without a sleeve for prolonged periods of time, since my skin will eventually stick to the surface of this pad. I also do find that this is more of a heavy maintenance glass pad, and what I mean with that is that it is easier to attract dust or anything like that on the surface, which you will eventually feel underneath your skates, and some pads just cope better or worse with that. The MSRP for this pad is $119 originally, but since the 4.0 has now released, or the WALLHACK SP004, this one now constantly goes on sale. I also do not know if they're gonna keep producing this, but if you want to pick yours up, I do have a code jakeu over at the SkyPAD website if it is still in stock. And since this one is still considered to be pretty fast, I'm going to put it up in the fast tier. Remember, fast is not better. It is simply personal preference if you want a balanced experience, more of a control heavy glass pad, or something that is faster. And coated pads we will get into in a bit. The WALLHACK SP004 is the latest addition from SkyPAD, which are now rebranded to WALLHACK. It is 490 by 420, 3.6 millimeters thin, so it's not annoying at all for me personally. The edges are about the same rounding as the 3.0, so not the best out there, but it's okay. It also has this insane silicone backing that doesn't move whatsoever and also keeps your pad very uniform. It is not coated. It comes in 2 different versions currently, black and white, and remember, since it's originally SkyPads, there are probably gonna be a lot of different versions in the future. It is very fast in terms of glass pads. It has less friction in terms of the static and kinetic friction compared to the original SkyPAD 3.0, according to SkyPAD as well. And if you have seen my review, that is the same for me. It's very fast for me, and therefore we are moving this thing right up to the fastest pad possible right now. It doesn't have any sticky skin issues for me personally. It is also slightly less maintenance heavy than the 3.0 currently so far for me. It MSRPs at the same price as the previous SkyPAD XL, which is $119. And yet again, if you want to save some money, you could use code jakeu. The Padsmith Strike Pad, this one being the Empress, is my personal favorite glass pad so far. It comes in at 490 by 420, 4 millimeters thin, and it is not annoying at all for me personally. However, the edge is not as well rounded and it is sort of sharp. I don't think people really often talk about it, but for me personally, it doesn't annoy me. But when you do these vertical movements, you can definitely feel the edge. It also has this sick silicone backing on the rear with their logo, and it is not coated. It comes in 2 different versions, the Kylie and also the Empress edition. Don't think you can get the Kylie Dark Chaos anymore, but might be wrong there. This is definitely more of a balanced pad, and that is also why we are putting it into the balanced tier. Many people get it wrong and call this a control mouse pad. This is not a real control mouse pad, and we will get into that later in this video. It feels very smooth. It barely has any texture with basically all of my skates that I use here. Not the smoothest pad in the entire world, but definitely not a textured pad. My skin never sticks to this mouse pad, especially not compared to a 3.0. It is definitely not maintenance heavy, and it copes insanely well with dust and hairs, and the MSRP is at around $75. Not only is this ESPTIGER Black Lotus, in my personal opinion, insanely ugly, but also is it 480 by 400 millimeters in the large size. The thickness is around 5 millimeters, which I will agree is slightly annoying in game when doing vertical movements. I can clearly feel the edge, even though it is slightly rounded, and it also comes with a pretty sick PU backing, and it does not move on my desk whatsoever, and the surface is completely even thanks to it. ESPTIGER state that this comes with a composite coating for improved durability. Take that as you want. I don't see a coating being useful for durability since it will eventually wear down. This black logo Lotus pad is also slightly more textured, whilst the other full pink one is way more smooth. Many people in the community have said that the Black Lotus isn't coated and the full pink one is coated. However, going off feel, and since they are insanely similar, and also looking at their websites which state that all of the ESPTIGER glass pads have this same coating, I will safely assume that these are both coated. The pink version that I have here was also very popular in the community, mainly because it is super smooth, together with the coating and also the smooth surface feel in general. But yet again, remember that this is coated, and I cannot tell you how long this coating will last. This Black Lotus comes in this version and also a full black version, and the smooth texture version comes in this full pink or also with a black logo here. The rough surface is slightly more balanced. You can definitely feel the texture that translates into your mouse gates, whilst on the smooth pad it is definitely much more of a smooth experience. In terms of the overall speed of these two pads, I perceive them both as insanely similar, and it is very difficult to actually tell a real difference besides the texture. These are both very balanced pads, but I would definitely say that my Padsmith Empress feels slower and more controlled in game. So I'm gonna do something like this. The Nyfter Glass Pad is something that is barely ever advertised and nobody really talks about, mainly due to them being focused on a different target audience, but also willing to venture into different segments. Because it is a square pad, which is 500 by 500, and also those 5mm thick, I would definitely recommend only getting this if you are willing to align it to the edge of your desk, because if you put it at the center of your desk and you have those 5mm, it will definitely annoy you in those vertical movements because you can feel that edge on your arm. The surface is yet again super smooth, and it is also coated according to their website. My copy is ever so slightly more controlled than the pink Lotus that we have here in our list, so I'm gonna put it over here, but I would definitely say that my Empress feels more balanced. This Nyfter pad is overall an amazing balanced experience. I have no clue how long the coating will last though. It comes in a white version, a black version, and then also this jakeu design. The Gamesense Sonar comes in at 500 by 400mm. It is stated to be around 4.7mm thick, but honestly it doesn't feel like it. And that is mainly because these edges are insanely rounded, so they're never annoying in vertical movement. They come with 6 furniture feet which are placed in each corner and also the center. I personally had to take off the center feet because the pad was uneven on my desk. This pad is also not coated, and there used to be a limited edition that looked freaking sick, and in this entire roundup it is definitely the slowest pad. However, I would still consider it being balanced, mainly because there are only 2 real control pads out there right now in terms of glass pads, which are the Wraith Cosmic and the Project Arctica. The MSRP goes for around $90, but right now it is on sale for $54 in the US. Most people would definitely call this a control pad, but that is probably because they've never tried the Wraith Cosmic or the Project Arctica, or they don't know of these 2 pads, so that is why I'm putting it in the slowest spot of the balance section. The Onda Glaze is supposedly very similar to the Empress. They're not made in the same manufacturer, I have had that confirmed, and the Onda Glaze comes with these crazy dimensions of 600 by 500. That is pretty insane. It is also only 3mm thin, and I was supposed to receive this thing ages ago, but the mailman had different plans apparently. It is also not coated, and it would align right with the Padsmith Empress, going off what all of my reviewer friends have told me. Take these opinions with a grain of salt since I don't own this currently, so therefore I'm gonna put it down here. The Superglide is basically an overall better SkyPAD 3.0, and since the Kanami pad is being released from the same manufacturer, going off of the Alibaba listings, I will treat these the same. We don't yet have reviews of the Kanami glass pad, so please take this with a large grain of salt, but going off of the Superglide, which I've tried at somebody's place for a few minutes, it is still a very fast glass pad, and it overall felt insanely smooth, especially considering that it is not coated. The quality is super decent, with a great silicone backing as well, which the Kanami pad has the exact same one, just with a different pattern, and as you can see, that is exactly what this Alibaba listing offers as well. The MSRP for the XL Superglide is $95, with the Kanami at $75, so I would most likely assume these to be insanely similar, but since I don't own them right now, I'm gonna put them down here, with of course the Glaze one being more control oriented. Another pad that I don't own own currently is the Project Arctica. The V3 was supposed to launch a long time ago with a new silicone backing, and this one is actually controlled according to my reviewer friends, and hopefully the V3 comes soon. When we're talking controlled, we mean actually controlled, not just an Empress balance type beat. This one will actually be controlled in terms of both static and also kinetic friction. There's also the Wraith Cosmic, of which there were a V1 and a V2. My reviewer friend Stubby has the V2 version and says yet again that this is actually controlled just like the Project Arctica, so we're gonna put these two in the same boat. I was supposed to get the Wraith Cosmic V2 ages ago, but yet again for some reason that just didn't happen. There also might be a few pads that I've probably forgotten about, but yet again since I don't own these pads I will put them down here, but remember that they are actually genuinely controlled and not just balanced pads. I also only put the coated pads up here for a reference for you during this video in terms of the speed, but remember that these are all coated, which could wear down eventually. In terms of skates, Obsidian Dots is the go-to skate for hard surfaces. They offer a smooth glide and are the best all-rounders, but for a way more quiet experience, the Ghost Glides Edge Runners are phenomenal. There are also the Ghost Glide Cyclones that many vouch for, but I haven't tried them yet. In general, stay away from Obsidian Pros unless you are using the SP004, since they do work great on that one. On any other pad, don't use them unless you want a sticky and almost muddy glass pad experience. These skates basically turn any glass pad into a real control pad, but in my personal opinion, it really doesn't feel good. Some people do actually prefer them since they make almost any glass pad a control focused one, but it does feel sticky on most glass pads. Other than that, most skates should be fine, but if you want to minimize any scratchy feelings and don't want to be affected by dust and hairs as much, definitely go for the Obsidian Dots since they're the overall softest skate in this entire lineup and you get 40 dots per package. Most people just go for 4 skates like this, but if you end up slamming your mouse on the glass too often, just put skates where there's more contact. Just please don't cover the entire bottom of the mouse in skates, because then you could just as well go for pad skates. In my personal opinion, the Empress is fire and my personal favorite. It is definitely the most complete package for their pricing. The SP004 packaging is also absolutely nuts, and I wish more companies would actually do that, since it's both perfect for shipping and also carrying. In general, I advise to stay away from coating since you don't know what you're getting yourself into and have to trust the manufacturer in what they're saying. I also definitely do prefer more balanced glass pads, and I can't wait to get my hands on both the Empress Controlled Edition, which will be this red color variant, and of course also control oriented, and also the Glassworks pad led by the founder of Corrosion and my Twizy Repair over on Twitter, since that one will be supposedly an incredibly smooth and also very controlled experience, and both of those pads won't have a coating either. Anyway, that's about it for this video. I would truly appreciate if you could hit that subscribe button and hit the bell right next to it, since you'll most likely be interested in my upcoming content if you're interested in this peripheral enthusiast scene of ours. Other than that, I'll see you guys very soon. Peace out.